I'm Molly.
I'm Julie.
And I'm Jen.
And welcome to Folks Forever, a Lois and Clark rewatch podcast.
We're three fans who've been loving LNC since 1993.
Each week we'll recap one episode and talk about at least one LNC-related topic.
If you would like to learn more about who we are, how we became folks, and or how we became friends, check out our intro episode. Guess what I did today?
What?
You're not going to guess?
Okay. Oh, yeah, you fell into some poison ivy, I hear. Or no, that was yesterday.
Oh, yeah, that was a couple days ago, but it's getting nasty on my
Julie,
face. Julie,
okay, you said you did something today. You sent me a package with a prop in it that you're willing to part with?
What? No. I'm so excited. I started to pack today for my trip because I'm coming to see you guys soon.
What?
I'm so excited.
Wait, did we know about
this? Nope,
Julie's
it's a surprise.
Coming to Oregon. By the time this episode is out, she'll probably already be here, so yay.
Yeah, I think when this episode comes out, I will be there. Yes, currently. So I'm like super excited. There's still like 4 weeks, I guess, to go. But I was like, I'm getting my suitcase out and I'm throwing some stuff in it. And it was perfect timing because I was supposed to go to Chicago for Teri's play. But since Teri is no longer in it and I already have the week off, I'm coming to see you guys.
Yay.
Surprise!
I'm so excited. So excited.
Yeah, that'll be fun. We'll get to have some hijinks.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be discussing Season 2, Episode 4, The Prankster. We also have a special guest with us today. Please welcome the host of the House of L podcast, Derek Russell.
It's all good. Hello, hello.
How is everybody?
Hi there.
Super.
Good. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yay.
I like your shirt.
Thank you. I tried to rep. I realized that was the closest thing I had to a 90s logo. So
Nice.
I went with it.
I just wanted to start by getting to know you a little bit better. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from?
Sure. I'm originally from Mississippi. I started doing a podcast about Superman and Smallville way back in 2005. So for over 2 decades now. And I've always loved the character, all the characters, obviously Superman and Lois. And just having celebrated when this will be airing, but having just celebrated the 88th anniversary yesterday at the time of this recording, it just reminds me how important this character still is almost a century later. So I love celebrating him and Lois in all mediums. So, and Lois and Clark is a big part of my childhood. So always enjoy talking about that series as well.
Awesome. I was just going to ask, how long have you been a Superman fan? And how did it start?
My earliest Superman memory, other than my onesie pajamas, which I actually have a pair framed on the wall over here that my mother had framed for me, matted and framed. Actually, I can hold on one second. Let me grab it.
Nice.
Visual aid.
We need to see the onesie you were sent to Earth in. Come.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, here, I'll take that off. There's my.
Oh, how cute!
So cute.
Adorable.
All faded.
Okay, now where's the
away.
spaceship?
Yeah.
That's in the cellar. We don't.
Dang it. Okay.
I'm trying to find my first Superman toy, and I have set it somewhere and don't know what I did with it. Probably because I was using it as a visual aid before. But Burger King in 1987, 1988 had these cup holders, and they were Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Darkseid. And so the action figures would hold the cup. So they were like the handle of the cup, and then you could detach the cup and play with them. And that was like my first real Superman memory of anything. And I played with that thing till the emblem nearly wore off of his chest, and I still have my original one, and I've bought others along the way just to not make sure that one doesn't get ruined at any point. But I think those things were like $1.99 back then, and I've always said like $1.99 changed my life because that, had a huge impact on me. But yeah, since before I can remember a Superman fan, before I can have any memories, I was one, evidently.
That's awesome. When did you start watching Lois and Clark? Did you watch it when it was airing?
Absolutely. I remember the night it premiered. It was Sunday nights were often we were very much a priority television household. So if we weren't home, whatever we were watching was being recorded. But I do remember being home in front of the television for that. More often than not, I was recording them and watching either later that night or a day or so later. But I was glued to the television set. I could distinctly remember Clark's hand pushing the bus, stopping the bus, and his handprint being pushed into the grill of the bus and all of that. Yeah, I have very vivid memories of that from the night it aired. So from day one, I was absolutely hooked on that series.
Nice.
What are some of your favorite episodes over the whole series?
Anything with Tempest and H.G. Wells are my favorites. I have always said that I wish they would bring Tempest back in some iteration, whether it be in the comics or I really thought it would have been fantastic had they used him in a darker, more sinister tone on Superman and Lois that also ran for 4 seasons that just went off the air back in December. But I think those are very obviously as the series goes on, you all know it becomes more madcap and zany by season 4. But I always just really love those two characters and how they interacted with Lois and Clark on the show. And I think they make for excellent episodes between alternate Earths and time travel and some fun things that they introduced there. So those, as I said, I do hold the pilot very near and dear to my heart, especially the extended with all the scenes that often don't show up in syndication or in other spots. One of my favorite scenes in the whole series is when Clark goes to change in the storage room, as he often would do in the old George Reeves series. But in this one, Perry follows him into the closet trying to figure out what he's doing in there. And I always love that one. I love the new Krypton stuff. Somebody's going to correct me. Season 3 going into 4 or season 2 going into 3?
3 to 4.
Going into 4, right. Okay. Yeah, see, I'm going to have to turn in my card by the end of this because I've forgotten so much. But yeah, I love those. And Justine Bateman, I always thought those were fun episodes as well. But yeah.
Nice. Okay, so we already mentioned that you host a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us about?
Oh yeah, so the House of L started it when it was called the Starkville's House of L way back when in 2005. I host it with just kind of a revolving door of my friends that I've met over the years because of the show, much in the same way you all met because of Lois and Clark, and have had these friendships for 10, 15, 20 years. And we, I didn't think I'd still be doing this at 40. But we all enjoy each other's company so much and enjoy talking about the character. And there's no shortage of Superman news ever. The last couple of years, obviously, showing how important that character still becomes today with the new film and the new franchise that Warner Brothers and DC have set out to do. So, do we do anything from covering old episodes of Lois and Clark or Smallville to talking about the new movie to we take trips and go around and cover Superman related things often. So it's an excuse to hang out with my friends more often than not.
The Prankster first aired on October 9th, 1994. A few movies that were released in the fall of 1994 include The Shawshank Redemption, Clerks, Blue Sky, Vanya on 42nd Street, Princess Caribou, Ed Wood, Exit to Eden, Stargate, Time Cop, Little Giants, and Pulp Fiction.
The Prankster was directed by James Hayman. This was his first of only 2 Lois and Clark episodes he'd direct, the other one being Chi of Steel. He's gone on to direct many more TV shows, including ER, House, Ugly Betty, and 1 episode of Desperate Housewives. This episode was written by Grant Rosenberg. This was also his first Lois and Clark episode, but he'd go on to write 9 more over the rest of the series.
Every Lois and Clark episode had a title. The Prankster is another straightforward one. The villain is nicknamed the Prankster, and this is his shining spotlight episode. Jen, do you have any memories of your first time watching The Prankster?
Mine is very simple. No, I don't remember anything really other than the guy from Perfect Strangers shows up because I loved him on that show. But I don't remember anything.
Derek, what about you?
I actually do. It may cover two of your questions, my memory of this, because around this age is where I thought as I said, we were recording everything off television, and I thought I'm not going to have commercials on my recordings anymore. And now at the age of 40, I'm like, I wish I had all the commercials from back then on my tapes. But I was very adamant about pressing pause, during the recording as it went into the commercials, and then so it would seamlessly go back into the episode. But my ADHD would never allow me to actually start it right back where it was. So the entire scene where they meet Loomis, who is the actual prankster, I'm sure you'll get into that, but still not named correctly. I don't know what they were doing there. But that whole scene I did not have in the recording. So it was a long time before even through summer repeats before I ever saw that scene again.
Yes, I have some VCR woes with this episode. The end got cut off by Church of Metropolis, so I only saw the end once for several years. For several years I only had memories of the end, and the middle part got somehow recorded over. Anyway, yeah, VCR woes are real. One of my memories from this one is that I remember when Perry, towards the end, after Jimmy has his little epiphany about the prankster's dad, and he's all smart all of a sudden, Perry's like, "Good job, Jimmy. I'm gonna even let you call the police." And they both go off together like this, and I was like, let him call the police? I would hate to have to do that. I would hate to have to make a phone call. And that's his reward for being smart. I would never be smart again if that happened to me.
Anxiety. No.
Don't make me
I'm on
do
the
it.
same train. Yeah.
Yep. Jimmy doesn't seem to care though, so. What about you, Julie?
I actually have a pretty big memory from this episode because I remember we didn't make it home in time. So I was missing the first part, the teaser part, where they're at the museum. And at this time, I had figured out that there was a radio station that I could tune into and hear it. But the station was really, really bad. It was super staticky, and I'm trying to hear the episode and figure out what's going on because obviously you can't see what's happening. And I hear Fat Elvis and then some screeching, and I'm like, what is happening? That's my memory of the beginning of this episode. Sitting in my mom's big old minivan with my ear to the dash, trying to figure out and trying to hear something. And it made no sense.
That's funny. We had a channel, I don't remember what it was, but it would play the old 60s Batman show. But we had a radio signal in town that would interrupt it. It wouldn't interrupt any other show on that network, but whenever I would try to watch 60s Batman with Adam West, the radio would take over the audio of that station for some reason. So that's funny. That made me think of that.
That's awful. Yeah, the station was so bad. You could hear every maybe third word. It was so bad. But I tried.
During the first two seasons, before the episode titles were known to the general public, we had to make up our own fake titles so that we could label our VHS tapes. My fake title for this episode, Prankster. Yep, another straightforward, really, Prankster. That was it.
Yeah.
What about you, Derek? Did you have one?
I don't remember writing anything on the label, but I do remember with Bronson being in it, referring to it as the Perfect Strangers episode.
Nice.
More often than not.
Awesome.
Jen, did you have one for this one?
No, I didn't. It was just probably on tape number 13 or something. I don't know.
Julie, tell me you have something super wacky.
Of course, mine is the Prankster. I got it right this time. Yay.
Wow. A+.
I don't know what else I would have called it. Pavarotti Jack in the Box or something.
Oh, no. Sure.
Nice legs.
Yeah.
Perfectly formed carrots.
Perfect carrots. Yep.
Yes. Before we get into our episode today, we are going to give our very own summaries in 16 words or less. And today we start with Jen.
All right. Mine is the guy from Perfect Strangers shows up and messes with Lois in an attempt at revenge. I had to say it a number of times and count in my head to make sure it was not 17, but I did it.
Awesome.
Mine is hijinks, harassment, and death threats send Lois straight to Clark's apartment, armed with pizza and movies.
Aww.
What's yours, Julie?
And mine is a prankster and his creepy sidekick who likes Lois's carrot-looking legs, terrorizes, and eventually kidnaps her.
Funny.
Derek, what's your summary?
I had a cop out, so I thought since his whole drive was his dream to crush Lois, I thought it paired well with the Perfect Strangers theme song. So to quote, "Standing tall on the wings of my dream, rise and fall on the wings of my dream."
I love it.
That's
That's awesome.
That's his dream.
That's awesome. All right, so guest stars for this episode, we have Bronson Pinchot, who played Kyle Griffin. He is best known from Beverly Hills Cop, Perfect Strangers, which is my favorite. He played Balky. The Langoliers, Step by Step, Jury Duty, the comedy with Tracy Scoggins. He is also on Instagram and Cameo. We also have Rick Overton playing Victor. He is best known for Willow, Groundhog Day, Eight-Legged Freaks, and also appeared in The Office, Grimm, and he did 6 episodes of The Secret Adventures of Jules Verne with Chris Demetral, aka Jack. Harold Gould played Edwin Griffin. He was the original Howard Cunningham on a show called Love American Style, which later was a character on Happy Days, and that role went to Tom Bosley. He is also known for Patch Adams, The Master of Disguise, Freaky Friday, The Golden Girls, and Rhoda. And all 3 of these characters will be back later this season in The Return of the Prankster. Leonard Termo played Pete. He was in Ed Wood, Ali, Godzilla, and was also in Fight Club. John Fleck played Mick Barrows. He's best known for Waterworld, Falling Down, and Velvet Buzzsaw. Never heard of that one. JD Cullum played Randall Loomis, and he was in Leatherheads, Forever Young, and The Lone Ranger. And last but not least, Kristin Bauer played Donna Loomis, and she was in Romy and Michelle's high school reunion, True Blood, Once Upon a Time, and 51st Date. It's a good movie. I haven't seen it in a long time.
So why don't we get into the episode?
All right. So we open in an art museum with Lois, Clark, Perry, and Jimmy taking in the exhibit as classical music plays and sculptures surround them. Jimmy looks adorable in a cozy neutral V-neck sweater. He and Clark are clearly not impressed, quietly mocking the art while Lois tries and fails to get them to expand their horizons. Perry joins in with his own interpretation, claiming that from the right angle you can see Elvis's profile, which earns a laugh from Lois, but it's clear that she is fighting a losing battle.
Lois Lane?
Yes?
This is for you.
A man enters carrying a wrapped package and tells Lois that it's for her. Inside, she finds a note from a secret admirer confessing his deep feelings.
Dear Lois, please forgive me, but my feelings for you run deep, and I'm too shy to tell you in person. But I want the world to know that whenever I think of you, my heart sings. Your secret admirer.
As Jimmy and Perry immediately turn and grin at Clark, and even Lois kind of gives him a look, Clark quickly shuts it down with,
Don't look at me. I may be from Kansas, but I am not that corny.
Lois opens the gift to reveal a beautifully painted box. When Jimmy encourages her to unlatch it, a bearded puppet pops out. Somehow, she's still charmed, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
creepy. It's definitely creepy.
Is it
But
meant
I
to
love-
be Pavarotti?
Yes, yes.
I
Okay,
think
assumed
so,
it was,
Okay.
but yeah,
Yeah.
I think so, but it's creepy.
it's still creepy.
But I
Yeah,
love
no
how
way.
they all think that it's from Clark. I
Yeah.
think that's adorable.
Yeah, and they're all
It was
like,
cute.
this guy has a sense of style. I'm like, does he
Does
though?
he?
Does he?
The box
But
is cool.
The box.
the
Yeah.
box is cool, but then he looks more like Stefano from Days of Our Lives than Pavarotti.
Oh yeah,
Oh, no.
he does. He does. Ugh.
I'd be creeped out. So, if that's not unsettling enough, it suddenly starts singing opera. As the puppet singing grows louder and louder, glass starts shattering, including the case holding a valuable jewel. People are running and yelling, and a man disguised as a waiter teams up with a delivery guy. He casually grabs the jewel, swaps it with a decoy, and pops it in his mouth before slipping away. Clark finally stops the madness by heat visioning the puppet into silence. Then he turns to Lois and says, "You know, I'd hate to think what this guy would send you if he didn't like you."
About time, Clark. Took him long enough.
Yeah.
They could have shut the
Yes.
box or, smacked it a little bit or something. Nothing.
And Clark, he's definitely a little bit jealous here, thinking that there might be someone legitimately being
Yeah.
Lois's admirer. And so he's making all these snarky
Yeah.
remarks throughout this episode. And I'm like, I see you, Clark.
Yeah, we
He
know.
happily killed it. I thought it was interesting that there was nothing in the script about the prankster like putting the jewel in his mouth.
Mm.
So that
Yeah,
must have been
ad-libbed,
added
maybe?
later.
Yeah.
Or he was just like, I'm going to do this.
Improv.
I like that.
Improv.
Yeah.
He is a comedic actor, so. Back at the Daily Planet, Lois walks in with her Daily Planet mug. Julie? Yes, that's the one that Julie
Yes.
She doesn't
owns.
have it ready.
Yes,
Oh,
it
well.
is.
I was
have
like,
it.
where is it? It's Julie. I should have
it's on
warned
my
you.
shelf.
Okay, well, anyway, Julie has this mug. And Jimmy is once again rocking his black and white checkered Ned shirt. Okay, we have to fill you in. Did you know that the shirt's called Ned?
Me?
Because we haven't,
No.
we haven't, okay. I'm pretty sure it's from the Krypton Club. I don't know that we haven't put up the episode. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure I have to
You'll
go
hear
back and
all
read
about it. It's all good.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Did you notice that Clark is wearing that boob tie from the
Yes!
database?
It was like his horrible tie.
There's the boob tie.
No, I did not notice that one. Probably for a good reason, though. That's
I know. I was like, there it is.
gross.
Yep. First thing I noticed.
Well, Lois asks Clark if the lab called about the puppet gift, and he tells her that the wiring in the box was so badly melted that they couldn't figure anything out.
Do you think he's lying here, Clark? Because if he actually sent this to the lab, wouldn't they be like, a giant laser melted all... I mean, wouldn't they be able to tell that his laser vision, or someone's laser melted all these wires? I think Clark never sent it to the lab, and this is an excuse. Because he couldn't. Because they would know.
Ah,
Maybe.
Or suspect.
yeah, maybe.
Oh, sorry, they're all melted. They couldn't tell anything. I don't know about.
Clark being smart, maybe.
Maybe for once.
Jimmy asks if Lois has cracked the case of her mystery Romeo. Lois shrugs and says,
I haven't been able to think of anyone who likes me enough to send me I'm still working on it.
Perry comes out of his office to say that the planet will cover the museum damages, but then notices Lois looking a little off. Turns out there is an envelope taped to her computer monitor. Clark pulls it off and reads it. It's an apology, plus a mention of a gift on her desk. It ends with, "I am itching to be yours." Cool, cool, cool.
I just would like to point out how amazing the budgets were at a newspaper in the 90s that they're going to cover the expenses of this museum.
Right? I don't
That's something
understand.
you would see today.
They
I
didn't
don't
know
understand
about
why
the
the Daily
diamond
Planet-
yet. I think they
Yeah,
just meant
true.
the glass.
Yeah, just anything that was broken during the shrieking.
But that's still expensive.
But why are they covering it? Why does the museum not have insurance?
I was going to say the money. I don't think it was
True.
Lois's fault. I'm not sure that the paper
Yeah.
should be
That's
at
true.
fault for this, but
Yes, but
Perry
was it
drag them all
appropriate-
there?
Was it appropriate for her to receive a gift and then open it in public in front of everyone? And once it started singing, to not be like, "Ooh, maybe I better close this and do this later so that I'm not disturbing everyone." Yeah, maybe you should owe for some of that glass, Lois.
In the script,
see.
it did actually have a second line from Perry, like, now I think it's only fair if you kick in a little. That was cut.
Oh,
So in the
For
script,
Lois?
Perry was saying, yes, that Lois had to kick in a
Oh.
little bit.
That's not fair. She didn't
No
know
more
it was
vacations, Lois.
Trips
No
to
more
the
days
Bermuda
off.
Triangle. Yeah.
and it was 2 scenes later. I know I know everybody's paycheck here at the planet. Nobody can afford that ring, but
No
you're
kidding.
going to pitch in for this one, Lois.
I know.
Yes.
Why are they talking about their paychecks all of a sudden in these last few episodes? Like, when did this become a thing?
Right. So Lois looks around on her desk and she finds a jewelry box. Clark secretly x-rays it and offers to open it for her. But Lois goes full YOLO and opens it herself. Inside is a ring, and she immediately just puts it on. No hesitation.
Sure.
Jim, like,
Is that her engagement ring coming back again? Or what? That looks just
oh,
this giant
looks like
diamond
it.
again.
does it look like the same one?
I didn't study them like side by side,
Yeah, I
but
didn't look.
no.
Same as the Lex
It would-
engagement ring.
Yes, which apparently she
Didn't notice
stole
that.
back in Madam X.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been talking about this
That'd
ring.
be
It keeps
funny.
popping up. She's like, "Oh, it's so beautiful and romantic. It looks just like put it on my left
I'll
finger.
just-
Why don't I?"
I know, and I also
Right.
yeah, just right there on the left finger, whatever.
Just shove it on. No,
All right.
Sure.
it is not really romantic for someone to send, like, for a complete random person to send anybody a ring. Like, if you were going to do the secret admirer thing, maybe another piece of jewelry, not a ring. That is like engagement, you know? And she's just like, cool,
Yeah.
shoves it on. I don't understand.
Here, I'll just put
her
this
in
on.
scene at all.
Well, and to go
The,
from like
the last
0
gift went so
to
well.
60.
Let's see
Yeah.
how this one goes.
Yeah. I'll just stick it on my finger.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah, she still thinks
Jimmy-
that Pavarotti malfunctioned, but
Jimmy points out that the admirer must work at the planet since whoever it is has access to her desk. We've talked about this before. No, this is the Daily Planet where there is no security whatsoever. Hello.
Anybody
No.
gets on that elevator comes up to the bullpen.
Yeah.
Anybody.
No.
Yeah. Right. Even if it were true, Perry shuts it down fast, saying that no one there makes enough to afford that rock. Also worth noting, we already mentioned this, Lois puts it on her left hand and Clark is not thrilled. Lois starts defending her mystery man right as her finger starts itching. She thinks it's just an allergic reaction or that the ring is too tight. Clark helps her get it off and it breaks in the process, which he's quick to blame on a cheap setting. Not the super strength that he took it off with, but okay. But then he notices that the ring looks discolored, like it's been dipped in some kind of chemical. Could you tell that?
and Clark seems so happy right now. He's like, aha, this person is bad. Lois won't fall for him. He dips rings in chemicals.
Anyone who
safe.
likes Lois must be bad. If it's not me.
I meant to go back and look too, but I thought for a second, even as she goes over to the water cooler or wherever she walks over to, that Clark is still holding the note in his hand at that point. He may not have been, but I thought he was. I was like, is anybody going to reread this just to catch the
Sure.
word itching? Maybe.
Yeah. Itching for you, itching to be yours.
I love when they're
Yeah.
the world's greatest reporters.
Mhm.
They're just dumb as everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that puts Jimmy even lower because the later part of this episode, we find out he's like just not quite there. All right. Outside the Daily Planet, Lois is fully on edge, jumping at everything and snapping at random people on the sidewalk as she keeps narrowly avoiding getting taken out. I love her quote.
I'm sorry, Clark. I just can't get this image out of my head of some weirdo sitting in his living room snickering to his friends about how he's going to get Lois Lane to fall for him.
Clark responds,
Well, I guess that's the drawbacks of being beautiful, successful, and eligible.
and I don't think Lois liked that because her defenses shoot up about being single. And he explains that he was just paying her a compliment. But he does backpedal a little and say,
But you probably wouldn't have this problem if you were married.
Well, that's a terrific reason to get married, to avoid harassment.
and the back and forth here is really cute. She snips back at him and he is like,
Yep. Long day.
Clark's going to get a rude awakening in season 4 because, yeah, you're still going to have this problem.
yeah.
Anyway,
All right. So they walk into a little jewelry and gems store to find out where the mystery jewelry is from. As Lois and Clark look around at some of the gaudy jewelry in one of the cases, Lois is reminded of a guy from college who used to have a crush on her and named Randall Loomis.
Loomis, you say?
Loomis? What? What
Huh?
does that mean?
He once put a note in her locker at college. Did y'all have lockers at college?
In college, no.
I
No,
thought that line was odd.
no.
I never really thought of that. Yeah, that's true. College, no. High school, yeah. Well, and he even gave her an ugly piece of jewelry like that with a note that said, "From your secret admirer." And then she goes, "Wait a second. Scooby-Doo, it must be him." So off they go. So they drive in Lois's Jeep, and then everyone can wave hello to Julie's LL license plate. Hello. So Randall lives in a very nice part of town and is obviously well-to-do. Clark's like, but what if it isn't him? But Lois is convinced. She rings the doorbell, and when the door opens, it's a beautiful blonde wearing like a blue two-piece bathing suit with a see-through like cover-up thing.
As you do.
Lois, as you would normally
Yeah.
open the
As
door
you would
in.
answer the door.
Like,
Yeah.
Implying that she's living her best life and they have a pool.
yeah.
Exactly.
Well, when I first, I'm not even going to go with what I thought it was when I first saw it. I thought it was something else.
How
But
dare you? Everything is a bathing suit. There's nothing else that anyone can wear.
yeah, Molly, everything's a bathing suit. Yes, that's exactly what it is. Lois and Clark's eyes are huge, and no words come out until Clark asks.
Hi, does Randall Loomis live here?
The woman says yes, introduces herself as Mrs. Loomis.
Mrs. Loomis. Of course. Hi, I'm Clark Kent.
Hi.
This is,
Clark nudges Lois.
Lois Lane.
He explains that they were in the neighborhood and wanted to say hi. As she goes to get him, Lois is floored, saying that it must be a different guy with the same name. But when Randall shows up at the door, he has no clue who she is, which is funny. She has to remind him, and Lois basically bulks up her resume, trying to sound way more important than she is. And Randall is glad to see that she finally found herself a nice man, which is Clark's cue to...
It's kind of funny because she's like going, well, maybe it's a different Randall Loomis. And then he comes to the door and he's got on like the stereotypical like nerd glasses and he's got
Nerd.
like this jacket on that's just, you're like, oh, that's got to be him. That's got to be the
Yeah.
And she's
Yeah.
like, yeah, same guy. But it's only been 5 years and he doesn't, or so, and he does
I
not
know.
recognize her. Awkward.
That's really bad.
Awkward conversation is awkward.
So that's Clark's cue to wrap his arm around her and squeeze. But Lois is not amused. She is totally humiliated, and she leaves with her tail between her legs.
And did you see her nails? Obviously press on.
I wasn't really focusing on her nails, Lois.
I'm glad you're having such a good time.
Funny.
uh,
Giving it back to her
Love
a little
it.
bit.
love it.
Love how he's like, you were on the prowl. That man has a very faulty memory. And also, Randall says to Lois, you look so mature. And I remember thinking as a teenager, well, that's a compliment. And now you know that's not a compliment.
No.
No.
Mid-20 person.
Rude.
Yes.
Rude. Of all the
Yeah.
things you could say, don't say mature. Mature.
My thing with this is if Lois knew at the jewelry store that Randall Loomis still lived in Metropolis, how she would know that, but not know that he'd been a successful computer guy and recently sold a software company. Meanwhile, Randall never heard of Lois Lane, star reporter engaged to the Lex Luthor. I mean, what's been going on
Yeah.
with these people?
Yeah.
That's a little
Lives under
weird.
a rock.
But also, this is yet another person from Lois's college years that has shown up on the show. Last season, we had Linda King and a mention of boyfriend Paul, and we have another one coming up in a few episodes. They love her college people. No high
Yeah.
school, except
And
way later.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that was high school. I was like, there's another one coming up too, but that's way off. Meanwhile, in some garage, we find two guys who stole the jewel from the art museum. Kyle Griffin, who I don't think we know what his name is, but I just wrote Kyle Griffin. Kyle Griffin steps on Victor's foot while he is working on a piece of machinery, like a street cleaner type thing. I don't know. I don't talk this language of cars or whatever. But it cleans the streets. This is important to know. Kyle gives Victor a bad time for not turning on the alarm system.
Well, you left the security system off again, and I just walked right in the door.
Though it's clear, despite all that, he's genius level smart. Kyle admits, I've been waiting 5 years to even the score with Lois Lane, and I'm not going to let everything be ruined just because you are too stupid to set a stupid alarm. I love him. He's so funny. Kyle and Victor talk about how they are working with terrorists, aka freedom fighters, and the terrorists want a demonstration before they can advance these two knuckleheads any money. Kyle asks if it's ready, which it is, and then he throws Victor an orange jumpsuit.
Hijinks coming.
Here they
But
come.
first, no.
But first.
Get
All
dressed.
I know, he holds it upside down. He's like, Oh, Victor.
All right, in this next scene, we see a woman walking a little white miniature poodle on the sidewalk, and they have obviously looped in some ARFs because this doggo was not barking. I hate to break it to you.
Yeah.
When the camera pans up, sorry, I had to really put that in there because it's not often we get a dog, but we got a dog. When the camera pans up, we see Victor and Kyle sitting in the machinery. Victor is making fake driving sounds, and Kyle just gives him a glare, which makes Victor knock it off. I love them together. Suddenly, a white truck labeled Stanton Electronics turns the corner and drives toward the two guys. Kyle and Victor start the truck that they're in, and it starts spraying some sort of liquid all over the street. The white truck goes swerving all over the place, almost hitting a guy and eventually crashing into a storefront. Kyle and Victor appear at the back of the white truck, prying the back doors open and going inside. They steal a little chip from a drawer labeled Fort Truman. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
It's the second episode now with like faulty or sent computer chips doing bad things in Metropolis.
Computer chips.
I loved everything a computer chip could do in the 90s. I mean, it's incredible that they can't even do what they do now. They did so many things in the 90s with computer chips. Take over the entire government with a little chip.
Now it's AI.
Yeah, right.
As this is all going down, we see Lois and Clark driving down the street when they hit a slippery section of road, and Clark opens the door and sticks his foot out and stops the car.
That was close.
Too close. What'd you open the door for?
I don't know. I thought maybe for a moment there, maybe...
What? You're gonna stick your foot out and drag it along the street and stop the car?
And Clark gives a little shrug like it's not a bad idea.
Sure.
She goes,
You've been watching too many Flintstones cartoons.
Clark runs out of the car for help, and then Lois gets out and slips and falls. And as she sits up, she sees a car swerving, and it's coming right for her. Commercial break.
I remember thinking as a kid, him stopping it with his foot. I mean, that's how we would stop our bicycles when we didn't have the brakes working or whatever.
Yeah,
but it never occurred
relatable.
to me, like, no, you really couldn't stop a car that way. Only Superman could do that. So yeah, this is funny.
His poor shoes, though.
Yeah, that's why he has to go to the shoe repair place. He's doing that.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't actually go to the shoe. Yeah, but that's from their other episode. But anyway. Okay, so there's a part in here, I don't know if it was already happened, but it's where one of the stunt women or stunt people is walking across the street and she falls and a car looks like it runs her over, and I had to slow-mo it, and I think she tucks her legs in at the last second. But
It's close.
Really close.
It's really close.
Yikes.
Yikes.
I also tried to edit the commercials out of my episodes, but I got a little piece of commercial caught in here. So my tape always had the car coming towards her face, and then a car commercial where the car is driving right at you.
I love when
and then
that
it
happens.
went back. I was like, okay. So I always thought that was funny. Anyway, so Lois is on the ground and sees this car heading right for her. But then we see a red cape coming down, and Superman has arrived. He stops the car, scoops up Lois all sweetly, and walks her to the sidewalk for apparent safety. Then he uses his heat vision to get rid of the slippery stuff from the road. And Lois is impressed, says,
Promise me someday you'll tell me how you do that.
Oh, he will, Lois. He will.
Yes. Ollie.
Shut up.
I thought it was interesting. I thought it was interesting that was clearly oil. which is something you wouldn't want to heat vision, but
That's true.
So I was like, oh, it's some kind of chemical.
Yeah.
That's totally not a whale.
Yeah, he froze the
Everything explodes.
he froze the tear gas in Madam X and turned it into snow.
Right.
So I assume if he heat visions oil, he turns it like in the season's greetings coming up where he boils the reservoir and makes it perfect again. I don't know. Heat vision's kind of magical.
Yeah.
Science. Science
It
is
all
cool.
comes down.
Yeah.
The practicality of his abilities on Lois and Clark are some of the best and most misuses of Kryptonian abilities on Earth that I can think of.
But he can solve acrostics, so that's great. We cut to the prankster's lab again, where Kyle, the prankster, is working on something, and Victor, ever the bumbling sidekick, drops one of the computer chips that they've just acquired on the floor. And he acts like he can't even be bothered to look for it, but Kyle bullies him, and oh, here it is, haha. And Kyle reminds Victor that this project means a lot to him.
Did I ever tell you how much time I spent in prison?
I think you said about 5 years.
About 5 years. And you know that in that whole time, I never got one single day off for good behavior?
Huh.
You know why?
No.
Because I'm just not a very nice person. See, I'm just not a very nice person. And my problem today is that I just don't feel that you understand how much this project means to me.
I understand. I understand.
Oh, the thing with the prankster being so hot and cold here, and mean to Victor and then sweet to Victor. I mean, there's words where he's pulling on Victor's tie, but then he's putting his arm around Victor. It's so ugh.
He reminds me a lot of Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor in a way. Just how he was. I mean, he was very vengeful and cruel, but then also just had the kind of buddy element to him as well.
Yeah. There's something very disconcerting about that. I think because there are real people that you meet in life like that, who you don't know where you're at with them, and one minute they're nice and you're like, okay, everything's great, and then they're poking you with tweezers or whatever.
I think you need new
Ripping
friends.
your hair out.
Not these two. These two are
That's me. No, just kidding. I'm not.
This is a safe space.
good. Well, then Kyle says to Victor, hey, we've had a long day. How about I take you out to the old ball game? The next day at the Daily Planet, as Lois is arriving, we hear a chant of Lois, Lois. Apparently, Lois is none the wiser that the day before, during a Metropolis baseball game, Lois's face was projected onto the scoreboard, courtesy of the prankster.
Let me be your designated hitter, your secret admirer.
What? Jimmy shows her a picture of this in the Daily Planet sports section, and Lois is not amused. Jimmy thinks it's hilarious, but then he quickly kind of realizes that Lois doesn't find this funny, and he's like, oh, maybe I need to, get out of here.
Jimmy.
Did you see that the paper was the fruit fly spraying paper again?
Not again!
No!
No!
It's back!
Oh.
They need some more papers on hand.
Wonder how many of those they made. Or if it's just,
Julie's probably got one stashed away somewhere.
Oh, man. That would be the one to have, too.
Right.
Jimmy is saved by a Daily Planet staffer who we've never seen before and won't be around much longer, and his name is Pete. He works in the sports section. And he is quite miffed with Lois, seeming to think she's somehow to blame for the scoreboard thing. He tells her that the game the day before was postponed for half an hour and that the fans were not happy. He says,
The boys in the press box called him the prankster. Me? I suggested a different name.
and I've always wondered, what name would that be, Pete? What? The jerk?
Figured it was something entirely inappropriate that would not fit in print.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess.
We can't say that on 8 o'clock television.
Yeah.
We'll never know. Lois finally gets rid of Pete, and as Jimmy walks up again, she says, How did he manage this? Meaning, how did the prankster do this whole billboard thing? And Clark walks up right away with the answer. He says,
Well, with a stolen computer chip.
turns out that the chip that powered the billboard was on that truck that got in the accident and everything. And Lois realizes that this means that everything that's happened so far with the prankster, they must have been diversions to steal stuff. And Clark's like, yep, in fact, over at the museum, they're missing their big diamond. And Lois is like, great.
Did it take 2 days did it take 2 days to figure out the diamond was missing, or for them to get word that the diamond was missing at this point?
I guess because the glass was broken, they might have like, oh, quick, put it in storage, quick, get it behind the safe or something, so they weren't looking at it. And then when they took it back out, oops.
Maybe. Oops, indeed.
Oops, indeed. So it should be noted here that while Lois and Clark are having their epiphanies about this and that, Jimmy is constantly going, how do you guys think of these things? And how did you know that? And yeah, Jimmy equals not smart yet. Don't worry, Jimmy. You'll have your
Relatable.
chance. You'll get one.
Poor Jimmy.
I wish there was one part where somebody was like, the other Jimmy sure didn't act like this.
Yeah, no kidding.
Your cousin Jimmy Olsen was a lot smarter than you.
Jimmy
Been
number
here 4
one.
weeks.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, Lois says to Clark, let me guess, part of that diamond was in the ring I got. Clark says, yes. The jeweler called. He said it's cut from that big diamond. Okay. Perry comes out of his office to say that a broadcast has just broken into all the news channels. Smart kids?
Smart
No.
kids.
They all head over to
yeah.
a TV and hear a voice belonging to what we recognize as the prankster. And he says that he's planted a bomb at one of Metropolis's scientific laboratories in the Riverfront District. Clark offers to go get on the story, and then he flies toward the riverfront. As Superman, he finds the bomb at a building called Chemtrex, which is really hard to say. Meanwhile, Kyle and Victor are parked out in front of Whitmore Scientific Labs. Both buildings have emptied of workers. Superman, once again, bursts through a wall, because of course he does, and reaches the bomb just in time, but before he has time to eat it or sit on it, his classic moves, a little flag pops out of it with the word boom written on it. Uh-oh, the bomb was fake.
He looks so confused.
I know, he's staring in the camera like,
He's like, what?
Camera? Are you in there?
Huh?
Why does he have to get so close? Like he's got this amazing vision. Just zoom in.
He also has door opening skills, but he doesn't use them, so.
This is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we cut back to Victor and Kyle, who are magically already back in their vehicle after going into scientific labs and taking something within these last 60 seconds, whatever. They have stolen what they need to steal. It's fine. Kyle kind of taunts Superman for being super close. His voice is obviously on this TV broadcast, so as it comes to an end, Perry asks Lois if she recognizes that voice, and Lois says no. She's now pretty rattled, more so than ever, because so far, the prankster's jokes haven't really been this scary. I'm not including her almost getting run over by a car, which the prankster didn't directly try to do, so that might have, that was just a coincidence.
He did not do it.
Like, Lois will be driving here right now. Yeah, that one, he got lucky. But, yeah, now she's like, ooh, bombs, this is getting a bit too real. Pete from sports comes up to Lois with a note. Someone phoned in the last few minutes to say that this person on the phone, has information about the guy whose voice was on the TV. So Lois and Clark end up going to this guy's home, and Lois makes some rude remarks that this is the absolute bottom of Metropolis. And we've had comments like this before where they comment on how trashy like Suicide Slum or whatever look, and they never look that bad. I'm like,
No, come to Portland. Come walk through the homeless part of Portland.
Yeah, there's like one piece of
Be a
litter on the
show.
ground. Yeah, that was Bugsy.
Awful.
And then they're like, ooh, I wonder what the brochure would say for this place. Complimentary roaches are. I mean, they're being so just rude.
Elitist.
I know. Yes, thank you. Well, anyway, they get inside this apartment, and yes, this guy looks pretty gross. He's got this tank top on with stains on it, which ew. And he's like, Elaine, come sit down. And she's like, I'd rather stand. And okay, there I can understand where she's coming from. I would rather stand too.
Might sit on a needle.
I love how his face is just twitching. That was great.
He was a really good actor.
It was good.
Very expressive. So Mick Barrows asks to see the money. Lois and Clark are confused until he says that he told the kid on the phone that if they wanted information about this prankster guy, it's going to cost them. Clark gives them some line about how the Daily Planet has a policy that they don't pay for sources. I beg to differ, Clark. Yeah, no problem with it.
I know.
With the tired guy.
Last episode, we just had one where they pay. Silly writers.
Yes. Oh, this was a first-time writer for the show, but still someone should have caught that.
Do your homework.
Either that or Clark was just saying that so that to protect. I don't know.
Yeah. Or they do, but they break that rule.
Yes, I think that's more it. He's like, we have a standing policy that we break half the time. But this man is not having it. He wants $10,000 or else he's not talking.
Good round number.
Nice round number.
Yeah.
I could make a comment about Jack and his negotiating skills here.
Yeah.
It's all in good time, though. Good fun.
Go high. Go high.
Go high. Anyways, this man isn't having it. When he asks for 10,000, Lois thinks he's joking, but he is not. And Mick tries to convince Lois and Clark to, give him the money by telling him that he spent a lot of time with this guy, Prankster, and that all this guy used to do was talk about Lois and what was going to happen to her. And then the phone rings. Mick goes to answer it, and Lois and Clark pull each other aside. They begin to whisper about maybe offering the guy something. Clark's like, well, all I have is $20 in my pocket. Lois is like, well, maybe give him something else. Meanwhile, behind them, Mick Barrows starts to sort of shake and twitch. And then he falls onto his chair holding the phone. And classic Clark, here it comes, runs over to Mick, feels for a pulse, and then says,
He's beyond pathetic.
He's dead.
Dead?
No CPR, nothing. He's dead.
Nah.
So back at the
They really
Daily
need
Planet,
some CPR classes.
when they're dead, they're dead. That's it.
That's it.
Back at the Daily Planet, Lois and Clark are using Lois's computer to try and figure out the connection between Mick Barrows and the prankster. Once again, Lois and Clark are making logical connections, while Jimmy is apparently unable to do the same. They find Mick's name in a database of prison inmates, and while going through that, one name happens to jump out at Lois, the name Kyle Griffin.
The most 90s name.
Oh, God. Kyle. Cad. Kevin. So, we learn that she, Lois, wrote an expose in her early reporter years, and this ended up getting Kyle Griffin thrown into prison. He had been a designer of illegal weapons. They talk about why Griffin now has stolen a diamond and a computer chip, and Lois surmises that those are both ingredients used in high-tech weaponry. Jimmy comes back over with a message for Lois and Clark, letting them know that during the bomb scare, one of the scientific laboratories got robbed. Lois and Clark aren't surprised. Jimmy is surprised that they're not surprised. But because Lois and Clark are smart and Jimmy is obviously not, well, not yet anyway. Come on, get to the end of this plotline.
Poor Jimmy.
Poor Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy, find a clue. Just one clue.
This was all hazing for him now that he was new on the show.
No kidding. It's like, you get to be the dumb one.
I definitely have some comments about this later. Jimmy's dumbness.
So Lois is ready to head for home. Perry offers her to come spend the night at his and Alice's place, but she declines. She says she'll be fine and that it's obvious Griffin is just interested in annoying me while he collects pieces for his next toy. Clark offers to take her home, but she insists that she's fine. Cut to Lois's apartment. This woman is not fine. In fact,
I love
she's-
this. I love it.
She seems to be thinking about Mick Barrows and how he got electrocuted over the phone. Any and all of her electrical appliances might be trying to kill her at this very moment. So we get a cute scene where she's going around her apartment, talking to her fish, saying everything is fine to herself, and being afraid to even open her fridge. She finally gets up the nerve and takes out a carton of milk and begins to drink when suddenly the phone rings. Julie?
What?
Oh, okay, we have.
What,
I have to
you
do
want
it.
me? Hello?
She's
I
scared to
didn't
even
bring
pick it up
spoons.
because, but she eventually picks it up using oven mitts and a couple of wooden utensils. When she finally gets the phone off the hook, it's all right. It's just Perry. Perry once again offers Lois a safe haven, but she assures him she's fine, and then the phone goes dead. Says Lois. The phone rings again. Thinking it's Perry, Lois snatches it up,
Hi, we got cut off.
but it's actually the prankster.
I know. I did the cutting.
Griffin, she says, is that you? Kyle Griffin feigns disappointment that she figured out who he is, even after he went to all the trouble of killing Mr. Barrows. He tells Lois quite happily that he plans to make her utterly miserable until he puts her out of her misery. Lois slams down the phone, clearly shaken. Y'all are playing with puppets while Lois is getting death threats.
Come on.
What?
Shame. For shame.
Oh, the oven mitts. I love these things.
There's a
They're
time
awesome.
and a place for oven mitts.
Well,
Well, actually, this is the
Come
time and
on.
the place, but it's fine.
This is the time and a place to
This is
play.
literally when
with
we
your
would do it.
shark and your pig. The only
Shark and
time I
pig.
can bring these out.
I have a non-oven mitt question.
Yes.
Because I can't remember. So Kyle was incarcerated 5 years prior, and it was because of Lois's first big expose, right? By this point in the series, has there been any talk of how long Lois has been employed at the planet?
Yes. Madam X, Perry tells her, says something about, I've only known you about 5 years.
Okay.
So we assume
All
that's
right.
when it started.
She got a first big expose quickly, but I would expect no
Yes.
less from the intrepid reporter.
true.
And it does, the timeline does line up because she's 26 in the pilot, so she'd be 27 now. She would have graduated when she was 21, 22, and got a job at the planet pretty quickly,
I
apparently.
buy that. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think it is brought up again third season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could not remember.
Okay. Lois, fearing for her life, rushes to Clark's apartment, where he's casually lounging on the couch, engrossed in a basketball game. However, he's not just watching, he's effortlessly floating a basketball in the air with his super breath. Kind of like how he did with the paper wads in Strange Visitor. As soon as he hears her knock at his door, he nonchalantly puffs the basketball into the trash can, gets up, and puts on his glasses. Good idea. Might want to do that. Considering how late it is, Clark obviously knows something is wrong, but allows her time to open up. She arrives with pizza, Diet Cola, and Lethal Weapon movies.
Lois, it's after 11.
I know it's late. I'm sorry, but I have this sudden urge for pizza and a Mel Gibson movie. I know how much you like pizza and Lethal Weapon, so here I am.
Great. Come in.
So what should we start with? Lethal Weapon 1 or Lethal Weapon 2? Or there's 3. It's sort of stupid at the beginning, but it gets better.
On VHS, of course. Under the pretense that she just wants to spend some time with a friend.
I liked the scene. I thought it was cute.
I love the scene too. But that pizza looks absolutely disgusting. I don't even think there's cheese on it. It looks like it's sauce and mushrooms.
They just reused the pizza from House of Luther. Like, yeah.
Ugh,
Ew.
nasty.
It's
Well-
actually the Fruit Fly newspaper. They just put
Yeah.
toppings on it.
So,
Oh,
so gross.
yeah, where's the Shasta? Why are they going brand name now? They've sold out.
Hey, I liked it. I made a note of it. Diet Cola.
Yes,
I love
and on
like,
the billboard
sorry.
that Lois's face was on, there was a
Represent.
Coke bottle. So obviously they got
Yeah.
clearance.
Lois puts in Lethal Weapon 1 and joins him on the couch. Suddenly, his phone rings, but it's nothing but static on the other end.
There's nobody there. Probably just a wrong number.
Wrong number. No problem.
Do you think it could have been Griffin? Was it supposed to be, or was it really just a wrong number?
I don't think Kyle Griffin cared about Clark.
I think it was just showing her jumpiness was
All right.
was its driving force.
Yeah.
Regardless, Lois panics and informs him that Griffin had indeed called her.
Nothing happened. You know, nothing important. Griffin called me.
What? What did he say?
Oh, the usual. Said Lois, hi, how are you? Long time no see. I'm gonna kill you.
This part kills me and just reminds me a little bit of the episode Witness, where she also seeks him out for comfort and protection. Kind of shows some relationship growth here. I love this whole scene.
Yeah, especially
so
since
cute.
in Witness, she was very straightforward about, like, I'm scared, can I stay here? Or, well, he kind of prompts her to say it. But in this one, she doesn't get to the point right away. She acts like, let's just hang out and watch movies because we're friends.
Everything's fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, everything's not fine.
These things, they never pan out.
Well, maybe not, but I'd feel a lot better if you stayed here tonight.
Oh. Well, if it would make you feel better, then I guess that.
Don't let me twist your arm or anything.
Clark, I don't want to die.
Lois, I would not let that happen.
And they settle in for the movie. Lois quickly falls asleep, snuggled into Clark. Clark gives her a loving look, and in a moment of pure affection, he places his head on hers. And squee-worthy waffy moment indeed.
Yeah, this is one of the big ones.
Yeah.
Top 10.
This is the scene I would rewind and rewatch over and over again.
It's just those looks that they were giving each other. Yeah, so good. So good. In the script, it actually mentioned that he laid her down on the couch, covered her up with a blanket, and then slept on the floor in front of her.
Oh,
They
And
should
I
have
thought
kept
that was sweet. It was like, oh, why didn't you keep that?
They cut the best scenes, dang it.
But you can
I
see that he did
know.
cover her with the blanket.
Yeah,
well, it's
She covered the
implied.
next morning. He must have laid her
It's
down
implied.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Julie, I'm curious. Is having read so many of those as you have, do you? And I know, being fans of the series, we would all want more than we've gotten. But do you find yourself going, that would have worked really well had they left this in, or more often than not, or really glad they left this out?
Sometimes, yeah, more often than not, I'm kind of glad that they left things out.
Yeah.
Where things have changed a little bit. But there's been a few times where I'm like, oh, I kind of like that. Why didn't they
Yeah.
leave that?
Yeah. There was a
Like
really
the hot
sweet.
tub scene. The hot
Yeah,
tub scene in
I knew
Honeymoon.
that,
That
yeah.
would have been good.
There's a really great scene in, of course, it happens in movies all the time now, but from the Superman movie last summer, where they, when they're at Kent Farm and he's sick in his bed asleep from the kryptonite poisoning, and they deleted this sequence where Lois comes in and kisses him on the forehead, and it says, I forget the exact line, but that she's going to go save him or go fix all this, and gets up to leave. And it was like 18 seconds long, but it would have made,
Yeah.
I
would've
think
been
it would have
great.
made that so much better. I absolutely loved it.
There's a scene
sure.
There's a scene in
That stinks.
Superman Returns that they cut, and when I saw that, it made me so mad. I was like, could you have taken out some crystals and put in this one instead? I would have. It's the one where Clark's in Smallville and he finds out his mom has a boyfriend now, and then he immediately cuts to go to the Daily Planet. I was like,
Yeah.
that is so relatable.
The next morning, Lois wakes up on the couch. Clark is already up and ready to start the day, diligently gathering information about Griffin's whereabouts. He has now obtained an address for Griffin's father, a retired nuclear physicist who now owns a toy store. Naturally, that's where they're headed next. Lois asks if they can stop by her apartment first so she can change. Clark playfully teases her, saying,
Oh, no, of course not. I know you senior journalists have an image to uphold.
Why is he being mean to her right now?
I liked it. I liked it.
face there was just great too. Like
he's rolling her eyes at wanting to get new clothes on. That's not that weird.
Yeah, you can't expect her to go looking like that.
Sometimes she does, though. Sometimes she does wear the
That's-
same outfit 2 days
that's
in a
true.
row, but still.
So Lois and Clark head over to the toy store, or I guess it's really his workshop. And here's another prop that I would really like to own, that weird "I'm calling you back" phone. So if it's out there, let me know.
Why did he not call Kyle on
On
that?
that phone.
That made me so mad. I was like, why would you
Yeah,
introduce
no,
this joke and then not follow up on it?
That would have been
Yep.
great.
There was no
that would have
payoff.
been so smart.
Maybe it
He
didn't
could have.
work
He could have
yet.
said, "I'm calling you back. She's on the way."
The
Oh, well.
wonderful Harold Gould, who has been in so many things, but I feel like I remember him most from being the grandfather in the Freaky Friday remake.
Mhm.
Yes. So Lois and Clark attempt to gather information about his son, but he keeps diverting the conversation, claiming he hasn't seen him since his release from prison. He's more interested in showing off his weird toys, including a small tennis court made of real red clay that he personally dug up near the Lunar Industrial Park. This will be crucial information.
And here's a prop here that Julie could own. We've got
That one?
We got two Mattel Todd dolls.
Oh, yes.
Barbie's little brother. They're playing tennis.
I'm okay.
You don't want
You're like, nah.
Don't have to get everything.
Yes, she does.
Well,
I know. Trust me.
Well.
I understand.
of course I do. Look at my room.
Right.
Clark asks what he thinks titanium, cesium, a diamond, and a computer chip could possibly be used for. Lois interjects, wondering if a weapon could be made from these materials. His father acknowledges the possibility, but emphasizes that it would be missing a power source like plutonium. Clark believes the only plutonium in the city is stored at a toxic depository, which Kyle's father denies is entirely accurate, because there's another piece of plutonium at a heavy metal processing plant located on Highway 9. They decide to split up, which we know always works out well for Lois, with Lois heading to the processing plant, and I would assume Clark to the depository.
I want
That
the
was good.
backstory on why Clark knows there's a piece of plutonium at this one place. Has it been time
Right?
traveling?
Superman's job to know
Something.
where all the plutonium is.
He didn't know about this place.
Must be.
Yeah.
Must be. So once they leave, Kyle's father calls his son to inform him that Lois is on her way. Kyle and Victor are, of course, at the processing plant. Victor is hooking up laughing gas so it can flow through the air vents. By the time Lois arrives, everyone there is laughing uncontrollably. She quickly collapses to the floor in a fit of laughter. So then Kyle and Victor enter with gas masks on and take her back to their hideout, or lab, or wherever they go.
It looks kind of fun.
Laughing?
Laughing gas. Yeah. Like,
I don't think
I
that
don't
really
know.
happens with laughing gas. Does
no,
it?
but it just look. Everyone in that scene looked like they were having
Yeah.
a blast.
Oh, and think of how many takes they had to do and keep up that energy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I love that
Except for the guy that gave when Jimmy comes up and shoves the camera in his face, it's like, show me
Yeah.
how you were laughing, and he makes the creepiest face in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was great.
No kidding.
So they take Lois back to the lab, where Victor sits gun pointed at her, creepily commenting her on her shapely legs, saying they are like two perfectly formed carrots. She says,
Stop. You're embarrassing me.
creepy guy is creepy.
That
She would
dialogue
lo-
went on for a long time.
Yeah.
It
She
did.
would love to
It
say
did.
more, but she's in a very precarious position with that gun. But boy, I know she would like to tell him something.
Yeah. Creepy. Clark and Jimmy arrive at the processing plant. Jimmy takes photos while Clark talks with the plant manager. He learns that the plutonium and Lois were taken. Jimmy approaches the plant manager and asks him to make a silly face, which naturally annoys Clark because, after all, Jimmy, Lois was just taken. Show some concern. There's no concern from Jimmy at all. Do you not care? Clark then sees some red clay on the floor and goes to examine it. Jimmy wonders how he managed to spot it from such a distance, to which Clark provides an absurd excuse, like that he has a strong prescription. That
I
makes
feel
you
like
see
that-
really, really far?
I feel like that comes back. Strong prescription excuse. What I
Yeah, it
this
does.
scene, maybe someone can explain this to me because Jimmy says, well, maybe that red clay came from anywhere. We don't know where that came from. And Clark's like, no, it must have come from the bad guys because look, everybody around here is wearing little protective booties. Well, Jimmy's not,
Right.
Clark's not, the police aren't.
Yeah. Oh, that's
And
true.
Yes.
then this scene it doesn't go anywhere. Like Clark never is like red clay, aha, boo boo bee boo boo. I mean,
Right. Where do you find
why
red clay
did
in
we?
Metropolis? Nothing.
Yeah, this scene
Near the Lunar Industrial Park. I would assume that that means that the lab that they have her at is near there. That's where I
But
took that. I don't know.
isn't it right by the Daily Planet because they're shooting the beam out in a little while?
Maybe that's not that far from the planet.
Everything in
Everything in
Metropolis is on
Metropolis.
this one street.
That
It's
is
just right
true.
around the corner.
I
That's where
mean,
I took
A
that.
small city.
It's funny to say that because at least, I mean, they use so much of the Warner lot, I know, for Metropolis, but then when you get into the later seasons of Smallville and they did not have the money to do it, Metropolis is a street. And
Yeah.
they would change out the
Yeah.
signs, but it was just that street was all they had to work with.
Oh man.
Yikes.
well, yeah. So this whole thing with Jimmy, it would be great if this was the clue that made Jimmy smart later, but no, he figures out something else. He figures it out from something else. And so, well, we'll get there, but like the
Yeah.
red clay goes nowhere, in my opinion. So, man.
Yeah, not really. Back at the lab, as villains do, they tell Lois the entire plan. He's selling his weapon and the buyers want a demonstration. And what better building to vaporize than the Daily Planet? He thinks she needs a small demonstration first, so he points the weapon at her. Uh-oh. And then he redirects it to the street sweeper vehicle right behind her. And the vehicle disappears. Holy crap, it works.
I feel like every piece of laser technology for about 10 years after Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was just that beam repurposed over and over again.
Yeah. That's true. It's very Honey I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah.
That's true.
He then redirects the laser beam out the window. It hits a billboard with Smokey the Bear on it with a nice six-pack. It hits the shovel that Smokey the Bear is holding and ricochets off towards the Daily Planet. At this moment, Superman is flying around, I presume looking for Lois, and sees the beam and intervenes. Standing on the Daily Planet globe, he gets hit square in the chest. Thankfully, though it may have weakened him a bit, he is not harmed.
I'm just glad when it hit him, it didn't like deflect onto some other thing.
Yeah, since you mentioned that, that is in the script, that it does go from him to a limo on the street and vaporizes the limo.
Like parked or driving?
It parked. The bad guy's
Okay.
limo was on the
All of a
street.
sudden
The
we're
guys,
getting-
Ah.
there were two businessmen that were going to buy this weapon, basically, in the
Okay.
script. And they were watching the demonstration, so they parked there, but they weren't in the car, they were on the curb. So their car got hit, disappeared, and the guys go running.
So it was deserved.
So it was
Okay, so
deserved.
just their
But-
car. He didn't
Okay.
murder them. Okay.
They didn't
He
murder
didn't murder
anybody.
them.
That was my question, too.
Superman's got a hit list.
They had
The Daily Planet will cover the charges for the 2 days.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
no.
This is only 5 episodes removed from Barbarians at the Planet. And Clark is standing on this globe like, not again. You will not get in this place again. You fight, Clark.
The target is always the Daily Planet. Always. So Victor exclaims, all that power and nothing happened. To which Kyle comments,
Even steel melts if it gets hot enough.
he goes to turn the laser up, but Lois, seeing that Victor is distracted, jumps into action. She knocks him onto the floor, knocking him out, and then jumps on Kyle's back. He ends up tossing her to the couch, grabs a pillow, and goes to suffocate her. But she knees him in the groin and gets away long enough to grab the gun next to the passed out Victor, and victoriously says,
You're right, Victor. I do have great legs.
Go, Lois, go.
yeah. Superman flies in through the window, realizes that Lois is okay and has handled the entire situation herself. He jokingly says,
Well, I guess you don't need me.
Not this time. But don't leave town.
I kind of wonder how Superman knew what that beam was. I mean, it's explained in the script, but how does he
Yeah.
know what that beam was? He just saw a random beam and was like, "Ooh,
I
this is something. We got to
said,
stop
yeah,
it."
yeah. Clearly, that's not something that's supposed to happen. So I'll stand in front of it.
Yeah, exactly. But he doesn't know what's going to happen. Everything will be fine. I'm Superman. Back at the Daily Planet, Lois is just kicking back at her desk, watching her name appear on the ticker tape. Lois Lane foils Prankster. Clark approaches her and playfully teases her about it. However, Perry interrupts them with Jimmy in tow. Jimmy believes that Griffin's father was likely involved because he was the only other person who knew Lois would be at the processing plant. Perry is proud of Jimmy, and they decide to call the police with their information.
Good job, Jimmy.
He just
job,
needed
Jimmy.
a win. He just needed a
I
win.
know.
A little confidence goes a long way.
Good job, Jimmy. Meanwhile, Diane, another reporter and the same one Clark was paired with in the previous episode, hands Lois a bouquet of yellow roses that were just delivered for her. Lois inquires about the significance of yellow roses, and Clark explains that yellow symbolizes friendship. She opens the card and reads,
From a special friend. A final sick joke from Kyle Griffin.
mistaking them for gifts from Griffin. She promptly throws them in the trash and dumps her coffee on them.
Those roses cost me $50.
Poor Clark. And then we get Lois's cute,
Oh. I'm sorry.
Do you think she fished them out? Do you think she tried to wash them off?
Hopefully.
I think she fished them out and like shook them. shook them to get the coffee off.
They were salvageable, I'm sure.
You're okay. Can't just assume things, Lois.
I don't remember
think-
what floral market prices were in the 90s, and admittedly been a long time since I've bought roses, but $50 seemed like a steal.
Yeah.
Really?
Didn't
I
seem
see
that
them.
way to you?
I don't know. Like, I go online to order flowers, you know, like if someone passes away or something, you order them flowers, and I'm like, they're $100 now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now,
Yeah,
it
I
seems
mean,
like a
now,
steal for
I don't
back
know.
then. Yeah.
Back then.
Yeah,
But,
back then you could
okay.
get
However many.
2 snow cones for $1. So I think the prices
Yes.
are there.
He bought her flowers in Illusions as well.
Mhm.
I think he paid like $3 for that.
Yeah,
Money works differently in Metropolis.
Yes.
I know. It's $1. It's whatever.
So
I
I
mean,
think
I would
this
think
Monopoly money.
Monopoly money. I would think, if you can go to China and get the Chinese food, you could go somewhere really nice and get the flowers. Go to,
True. Go pick them yourself.
visit the Netherlands and get some colorful ones.
So,
then that would have been really, really heartbreaking if she
Yeah,
ruined
yeah.
those. Aw.
oh,
So we've had the ticker tape ever since Madam X, but I think this is the first time characters have acknowledged it. So that's interesting. And we're going to see it so many more times.
and we'll see it say folks eventually.
Yeah.
I remember being really excited about that. We got a while to get there.
I don't even remember what season that was.
I think it's Forget Me Not. I think.
3, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nah. Which Grant Rosenberg also wrote.
Hmm.
Okay, so this was Grant Rosenberg, and I remember he also did the second Prankster episode,
Mhm.
right? I think.
Yes.
But I did find it fun. I know he did Lethal Weapons.
Yes.
I thought that was really funny after the introduction of the trying to show those films in this episode.
Oh, and naming it Lethal
Yes.
Weapon.
Yes,
Mhm.
Lethal Weapon.
Good point.
Uh-huh.
In the script, they weren't, since you're bringing that up, in the script, they weren't Lethal Weapon movies. They were Woody Allen movies.
Oh, they made a far better choice. Good job on
Yes,
Lethal
they
Weapon.
did.
Huh.
Yeah, they were watching Annie Hall.
Yeah, I don't see Clark liking Annie Hall. I think that they made a
No.
good choice with.
I like that they changed that.
Well, I think it's sweet because she says that she brought these because she knows Clark's already liked them.
Mhm.
So that shows that she knows
Mhm.
something about him and that she's trying to do it for him rather than
And she
herself.
knows,
'Cause
she knows the films because she's like the third one starts a little silly.
Yeah.
It gets.
she probably saw that one on a date with Mitchell, I mean, just
Ah.
like
Oh,
all I know
Mitchell.
about is that it's stupid.
Yeah.
Okay, but speaking of that scene, Clark mentions Jimmy wanting him to get an earring, and that does come back
Yeah.
later in the season, so I think that's funny. And then one other thing about that scene is Lois's dream that she tells Clark about. The one about, she's like, I dreamed that I was a cocktail waitress and Kyle Griffin was trying to shove me in a blender. This almost exact same joke came up in an episode of The Pretender 3 years later. That's one of the shows that I liked back in the day. And the connection, I believe, is that Tony Blake and Paul Jackson were producers on this show, right in this episode, in this era, and they were producers on The Pretender when that episode dropped. So I always wondered if they put this in there and then reused it. I hope that they didn't steal it from Grant Rosenberg and like reused it, but it's too coincidental. It's like a dream about getting shoved in a blender. Seems a little too coincidental. So
yeah,
maybe
bit.
It's an Easter egg. I don't know. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about? New things you noticed or other?
I was glad you two reached out to me personally on this one because it had been a long time since I watched it. So I remembered it, but it definitely was nice to sit down with it again.
The boys in the press box called him the prankster. Me, I suggested a different name.
Pete, don't you have a box score to study?
Well, we wanted to know, Derek, if you could tell us any fun things about Kyle, well, the prankster, I guess, wasn't named Kyle Griffin, but the prankster in the Superman comics. Tell us what you know.
I can't. So, oddly enough, I mean, he's kind of an amalgamation of, if you think of it like the Riddler and the Joker from Batman's Rogue Gallery and then the Toyman from Superman's Rogue Gallery. I feel like he's kind of all of those put together, but he's actually created before all of those characters, except the Joker. The Joker does predate him, so he was kind of Superman's the Joker there for a little while. I did think about it. One of his first, 1941 or 1942, he was introduced in Action Comics. So he's an early one that has stood the test of time.
1942.
1942.
Yeah, 1942. Okay. Action Comics 51 was his first introduction.
And I'm not sure if it's 51, but in one of those runs, he actually, well, everybody kidnapped Lois back then, but he did kidnap Lois, I think in his first appearance. And also, if he poisoned them, but he had everybody like locked in a place and he put, fumes inside. So I was like, well, they actually pulled a few things, at least of his bio into this episode. Why we went with Kyle Griffin, I don't know, because instead of Oswald Loomis is the actual character's name, or Oz Loomis. I don't know why they changed that. There was a big thing in 80s and 90s comic book history where whoever was producing didn't like the name, they just would change it. I know we see it a few times on this show, but a few times they actually, when the Toyman shows up later and it's Sherman Helmsley, they actually use Winslow Schott, which is his real name. The old.
I thought it was interesting that they made the nerdy guy with the last name Loomis kind of like a fake out, like if anybody knew who the prankster was, they were thinking, oh, that's him. His last name's Loomis. Yeah. Nope, it's not.
Yeah. So a throwaway thing maybe to some, but yeah, I'm sure some picked up on that like I did. Again, his first name was changed. I was thinking like to the old Incredible Hulk Lou Ferrigno show, they didn't like that his name was Bruce Banner, so they just changed it to David for the entirety of that series. That was just, the Wild West of television in the 80s and 90s. We'll do with whatever we want with the source material. He's kind of, he pops up a lot over the years. He's a little bit more menacing after everything gets rebooted in the 80s comics, after Crisis on Infinite Earths, and he's a little bit less silly, I guess, and they pair him up with Toyman a lot. I feel like, I know they're two very different characters, but they pull from so many of the same installations for both of them too. Even in this one, the Griffin's dad being the toy store owner, and stuff like that. So, and I can't remember when Toyman comes in the series.
Pretty soon. Isn't it the Christmas?
Christmas, I remember that. It's
5 episodes from now, I think, 5 or 6.
Oh, okay, so we're close. Yeah, when they bring him in. So, and then obviously they bring Bronson back again this season, right? It's still season 2 when he comes back.
Like episode 15 or something.
Yeah,
right.
I was gonna say I didn't think it was too long before we see him again. My favorite, I will tell my favorite prankster story though is still early on, probably late 60s, early 70s, but I cannot remember the issue. I have it, but it would take me forever to dig through a long box to find it. He copyrights the entire English language.
Yeah,
So
that's a good one.
anybody that speaks, he can sue them.
Oh,
Yeah, he forces them to pay to use
right,
it.
like
Yeah.
he has every letter of the alphabet copyrighted, and it's a hilarious story. But as so happens, Superman goes to the copyright office and foils him. But he's a fun character. He still gets used even today. I think my first real introduction to the character was the old Super Friends cartoon from the 70s. Before I started really reading comics. He does not appear in Smallville, although he does appear in the Smallville comics later on. So he's not one that's been utilized a whole lot in live action elsewhere outside of Lois and Clark. So I do think he's kind of untapped territory for live action.
I feel like in the Smallville comic, he was mixed up with Intergang.
He is, yeah, he's with
if I
Intergang,
remember.
which he is some in just the regular run too, not even just the Smallvilles. But again, I think in Smallville they actually team him up with Mister. It's been a while since I've read that line. I think they team him up with Mister Freeze from Batman, so it's an odd pairing. But he does for all the villains Smallville used, and they feel like they ran the gamut on using so many from the comics.
Yeah,
he's never one that showed up. But I love so much of the casting on Lois and Clark. It's one of my favorite things about the series is just the random people you would see pop up on the show. So to see him, I wish it would have been a scenario with much like the Toyman episodes where they paired up with Mark Lynn Baker from Perfect Strangers or did some kind of
that would have been great.
Some kind of
that would have been
like that.
so good.
But I think he's a fantastic actor. Loved him in Perfect Strangers, all the Beverly Hills Cop movies. He's hilarious. So to see him be a little bit more menacing here and creepy is fun, in my opinion.
Agreed.
All right. Well, what do we got?
Did you see this?
What?
There he
You
is.
see what he looks like?
You're like a mad guy.
He looks a little different. Like really.
He looks like
really
I
big.
looked before I lost weight. So he's very.
That was one.
They based the likeness of the prankster on me.
This is my Who's comic.
Yeah.
And it says that he is 5 foot and weighs 125 pounds. But looking at this photo, I'm thinking no.
It's just air.
Looks like if the Kool-Aid Man became human.
Then this one he looks very different.
Mm-hmm.
So he looks a little different in different comics.
Yeah.
But he's always about
he's
always about heists. I mean, he's always about pissing people off and annoying them, but he's always about his heists too. So they got those two things right, definitely in this one.
Jen, tell us. I mean, it's been a little bit of a drought recently, but could there have been any animals in this episode?
I'm so excited. Yes. There is a little mini poodle, the white, and he's walking down the sidewalk like a good little puppy, and he's very cute. So yes, one dog, and we get a close-up of the fishies in Lois's apartment, and she even talks to them. They get their little spotlight a couple times in that scene. So dog and fishies.
Yay. All right, Julie, please tell us, were there any goofs or bloopers in this episode?
There were. Okay. In one of the Daily Planet exterior shots, it is yet again Christmas themed. Use another shot, guys. Stop it with the Christmas. During the special effects shot where Clark is x-raying the ring box, his jacket actually turns from maroon to brown, which obviously is just a camera issue because the cameras are different. They did not use Teri's hand for the close-up shots where they were showing the ring and Clark breaks it. Lois has natural nails and the close-up shots were painted nails. So, nope, not Teri's hand. When Lois was researching all of Mick Barrow's prison mates on her computer screen, we see a bunch of names. Did you guys pause the screen?
No, I almost did.
Some, if not all, are crew members. Literally, the only reason I caught this the original time was because one of the people listed on there was the person that I bought my very first crew jacket from. So then I paused it, read all of them, and there are, I think all of them are crew members. There's boom operators, directors, producers, writers. Their driver is on there.
But I feel bad because it also lists their crimes, and some of them are pretty bad.
Some of them are terrible. Like, whoa, what did you do, Paul Jackson and John McNamara? What in the world? So yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. I mean, they wouldn't have to probably get clearance on any of those names, so that was probably an easier way to do that, and a little bit of a Easter egg.
True.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. In the scene where Clark is floating the basketball, you can see his blue tape mark on the floor, you know, the one that marks where an actor is supposed to be standing. So you'll see that.
Oh.
Why didn't the laser beam vaporize the bulletin board / Smokey the Bear's shovel?
Because it's made of steel.
Thoughts? And steel doesn't melt.
Nothing can kill Smokey the Bear.
Okay, and that's it, other than Lois was carrying around that fruit fly paper again, but I already mentioned that.
I did notice on that computer screen that it said that Mick Barrows got paroled in May of 1994, where I don't think it's not May. I mean, this was October when the episode came out, but things can get a little wacky on the show, so I don't know.
What? It's been out a bit.
Well, one of them had a parole date of 1998. I'm like, okay.
He's got a while. Got a while to go.
Yes, I guess.
But he's out now, guys, so we're good.
Uh-oh.
He learned his lesson.
All right. After our last episode in which there were not a lot of real-life people, places, or events mentioned, this one went for it. Good gracious. We had several songs. We had Canon in D at the beginning by Johann Pachelbel. Stormy Monday by T-Bone Walker was playing in the laboratory of Victor and Kyle. Lois quotes Love Stinks, the title of a song by the J. Giles Band from 1980. And Jack in the Box Pavarotti was singing, if I can pronounce it, Quanto è bella, quanto è cara, from the opera Le Sire de l'Amore, first performed in 1832. Sure. And I'm going to tell you this. Last night, I must have spent an hour Googling Pavarotti songs and arias, being like, which one is this? Which one is this? Could not find it. So today, I do the whole app where you put it up and listen to the music. It got it in 3 seconds. Told me what it was. I checked it out. I don't think Pavarotti sings this one really, but it's real. It's like I said, it's from 1832. I don't know why I always make things harder for myself than they should be. The other one was the Stormy Monday song. I watched the scene 3 times, tried to pick up the lyrics, Googled the lyrics, listened to a bunch of songs, finally found it. Today, I'm watching the episode on Amazon with the captions on, and boom, it just says right there, Stormy Monday by T-Bone Walker. Hello.
Oh my gosh. It was right there the whole time.
It was there the whole time. But the captions did not have the opera listed. All it said was opera music. So, Okay, keep going. We had a lookalike of Luciano Pavarotti, a famous tenor, born in 1935, died in 2007. Lois brought up the Tour de France, an annual cycling race begun in 1903. Lois mentioned Prince of Those Poker-Playing Dogs, which is in reference to a series of paintings by artist Cassius Marcellus Coolidge, born in 1844, died in 1934. Perry also mentions a painting of dogs throwing darts, but that must be by some other artist. We got some repeat references to Kansas, Elvis, and Paris. Clark mentioned Longfellow, which is Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, an American poet. We got mentions of both Romeo and Juliet, the main characters in Shakespeare's play. We saw a billboard featuring Smokey Bear, an American advertising icon, here to remind you that only you can prevent forest fires. In 1994, as the billboard does note, he was celebrating his 50th year.
Kids, only you can prevent forest fires.
And man, he is packed for being 50, I'm
Yeah.
telling you. Good.
He's got a six-pack for sure.
He
Sheesh.
is ripped. Lois brought the first 3 Lethal Weapon movies to Clark's apartment and referenced the movie's actor, Mel Gibson, who was previously very vaguely, subtly name-dropped by first name only in Pheromone My Lovely. Kyle Griffin referenced the clapper, a sound-activated electrical switch first released in 1984. Clap on, clap off.
Clap off the clapper.
As I already mentioned, Mr. Griffin had 2 Mattel Todd dolls on his tennis court. And Lois mentioned the Flintstones cartoons, an animated series that began in 1960. Yeah, there were a lot of them today.
Hey, Flintstones.
Goodness.
Jen, what is your excuse for the most wacky excuse Clark makes in this episode?
Jen, what's your excuse?
Well,
Yeah.
what's my excuse? There were some good ones. When he opens the door and then stops at using his foot is pretty cute, and his excuse is kind of the truth in that one, because yeah, maybe he was gonna do that. When he breaks the ring and calls it a cheap setting, not a cheap setting, he just has super strength. And then the strong prescription. I think out of all of those, I really liked when he made the reference to the Flintstones and thought he could stop the car with his foot. Because it was he was kind of telling the truth. So I'm going to go with that
He's
one.
like,
I think.
for a second I thought I might, and he never gets to finish, but...
Yeah.
Or he might just, he was thinking of jumping.
No.
Jump out, save yourself.
Jump out of the car. Yeah.
I think
Save
it's so
yourself, Clark.
I think it's so
Yeah.
cute. Like, this is just an aside, but that he always has his seatbelt on in the car because this is not a given on shows. There's a lot of shows where they won't be wearing their seatbelt because they're not in a real car and who cares? But, like, you set a good example for the children, Superman. Thank you. I like that.
He doesn't want to have to
Is it-
explain why he's not hurt when he flies through the window.
True. If Lois is driving. True.
Whee!
Good examples, I say. Okay. I'm not making this a permanent thing, but sometimes I'm going to do it for if there is especially egregious one of extras being extra. 2 examples of extras being very extra in this one. One, in the museum scene at the beginning, a guy walks by in the background and like pets or touches the sculpture. You don't touch
Yes.
the art.
I
Get
did
away.
notice him.
Wow.
The second was when Lois and Clark are in the jewelry shop. Several people walk by the windows. One of them's just walking like this. The other one's walking like this.
Staring in.
Just
Yes.
looking in the whole time. Get out of here, dude. So anyway, F- for that guy. Julie, will you tell us a little bit more about when this episode was shot and some of the alterations from the script to screen?
Well, my script date is August 24, 1994. There were several little changes in the script. Some we have already talked about and some that are just not really that interesting, so I'm not going to really mention those. However, there were a few deleted scenes. Originally, there was an additional scene with Pete, the sports guy. It's pretty boring, but basically he was just teasing her about the first museum prank. The second deleted scene was Clark back at the planet looking for Lois after he visited the depository. Jimmy comes running in saying that he heard a weird call on the police scanner about a gas attack at the processing plant, and that's how they knew to go there. The third deleted scene was Kyle and Victor inside Whitmore Labs. Kyle is, of course, stealing the essentials, the titanium, but Victor, being his weirdo self, is just stealing a framed poster off of the wall that says, "All I need to know, I learned in kindergarten."
That's funny. He's this genius that's like
I love
borderline
stupid geniuses.
stupid. Yeah.
Stupid.
Mhm.
Stupid genius. That's who he is.
He's good at one thing and then nothing else. I don't dislike that idea for a scene, but I do think we have enough Victor and Kyle already in the episode.
Yeah, there's enough.
And we also have enough Jimmy. Maybe more with Lois and Clark at the apartment. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like when
Okay.
he covers her and puts her on the couch.
Or he calls his mom. He's like, "Guess what?
Just here,
Guess who's sleeping over?
Don't worry, I didn't give her the murder bed. She's on the couch."
Tonight
Could
it's
have put
her
her in
turn for
bed.
the couch.
Now Lois gets her turn on the couch.
Aw.
Next
Yes.
week it's now she gets her turn on the couch.
So speaking of like dumb genius, Victor also made them some rubber boots that they could wear that would stick to the slippery street so they weren't slipping around. You can see that they are actually wearing rubber boots, but they don't mention
Okay.
the fact that they're special rubber boots.
Special.
And this one you might find interesting because you guys commented a couple times on it during the episode. Justin actually talked to the director and had a few of his lines changed and or flipped back to Lois and Clark instead because he wanted to play his Jimmy a bit different than what was originally depicted in the script. He actually mentioned this in an article that I have as well, so maybe I'll scan that and we could put that on socials. But one line in particular was when Lois realized the accidents were actually diversions. That was originally Jimmy's line. So Jimmy was not so stupid in the original script.
Good job, Jimmy.
But Justin wanted to play it off that he didn't really know what was going on. He wanted to be more of a contrast with Lois and Clark. That's how he wanted his Jimmy to be. So it was changed to something along the lines of course, how could I be so stupid? But then Justin changed it to, of course, I knew that, which I actually kind of like better.
I like that, yeah.
I would have liked it if they had started doing that with Madam X, but like we said in Madam X, he's like, I got this. I'm making the phone calls. I'm putting out the APB on Dr. Carlin. I'm here. But like now he's dumb.
Yeah. He wants
first
to kind of
day on the
change
job.
things.
I guess that's okay. It's still
he probably doesn't want to make waves on his first episode.
Yes.
Exactly. And he's just trying to find his character, which is why it kind of changed a little bit within these first 3 episodes.
Fair enough.
In the red clay scene where the red clay is on the floor, Clark also mentions that it must have been tracked in by the guys who broke in. In the script, again, it was Jimmy's line. So Jimmy again wasn't stupid, and he actually knew that. But he really wanted to not be in the know until the end of the episode.
It would have been okay with me if it hadn't come up like 6 times in the episode that Jimmy is like, they just kind of overdid it a little bit. Not really ruining the episode, obviously, but like, we get it. Okay.
Yeah.
I did want to point out there's a lot of baseball references in this one. We haven't had our sports metaphors in a while.
And we get a sports guy.
Yeah,
Pete.
and Pete from sports, who unceremoniously gets
Goodbye,
fired
Pete.
coming up here.
Yeah.
Good. I didn't like him anyway.
Speaking of Pete, if you recall in the episode, Mick Barrows says something along the lines of, I told the kid on the phone. Pete was the one who took that phone call. Pete is definitely not a kid, nor does he sound like one.
Mm-hmm.
In the script, Jimmy actually took the phone call, which makes a heck of a lot more sense because Jimmy does sound like a kid.
Wow.
Jimmy.
I never thought of that. He did take that phone call.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, Pete doesn't sound like a kid at all.
Well, Jimmy's just so busy running around. I don't think he could have taken that phone call. Maybe if we had Jack here, one of them, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Could have
Right.
worked. Drag poor Pete off his sports beat for answering phones for people.
Poor Pete's answering all the phone calls. All right.
That's why he wanted a raise.
You're right.
Any
The
more?
scene, yes, there's a couple more. I'll mention a couple more and that's it. The scene where Lois is all crazy paranoid in her apartment is a bit different also. She gets a glass out of her cabinet. It falls and smashes all over the floor, causing her to scream and drop her milk everywhere. She does not get out her little oven mitts and the little, spatulas or whatever. She takes a broom and like knocks the phone onto the floor, and then she gets down on her knees like, hello, and kind of yells into the phone on the floor. And it was not Perry. It was her mother on the phone.
Oh. Then they would
Right?
have had to hire someone else. So.
Yeah. They're like,
They
sorry,
would have had to cast. Yeah.
small problem with
Phyllis?
this.
Phyllis, are you available? She's probably
Yes,
not
maybe.
available.
Maybe Phyllis was not available and they really didn't want to recast yet. Who knows? Her mother calling and being, the motherly, not so nice person. Like, I'm hearing bad things about you and what's going on? And oh, mother. And that turned into Perry, which I like that it was Perry anyway checking on her.
I do too.
A mother just out of the blue on the phone would have been a little bit weird.
It does make me wonder why Clark wasn't floating outside her apartment like in Witness, with her getting death threat. Well, he didn't know she had gotten a death threat yet, but
Yeah, he's just like la 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 watching basketball.
oh well.
Yeah, so that's it. Those are the changes. Cool. Yay.
All right, today for Clark Forgot. As I was rewatching it, one did stick out to me, but this is sort of a reoccurring one. Clark forgot to use the door like a normal person, busting through the walls.
Yeah.
But the one that I did write down, it's not, whatever. I just like, Clark forgot to use his 90s manners, I wrote, because you may think that telling someone that they're beautiful, successful, and eligible is a compliment. Maybe it was in the 1940s, but Clark, get with the times. This is not what you say to your best friend, dude. So that was mine. Unless you like
he
the
called
other.
her beautiful. Oh.
But it was almost like you should expect a harassment because you are beautiful.
True.
And she knows she's beautiful.
I can see that
True.
too. Yeah.
And we know that after they get married, she still has plenty of problems. So it has nothing to do
True.
with
That's also accurate.
I feel bad. We have come to the time where we are going to rate the episode on a scale from A+ to F-. And today we start with Jen.
All right. Well, I was excited because I love Balky from Perfect Strangers. So the fact that he was on this show made me happy. His chemistry with Victor I thought was hilarious. And we also get the fish. There were fish in this episode and a dog. So that automatically bumps it up a little bit. And there was a very cute scene with Lois showing up at Clark's house with pizza and Mel Gibson movies. So I was between a B and a B+. I think I'm going to go with the B+.
All right.
Yes.
Well, I think this is a pretty solid episode, with a few scenes that I kind of just could skip. But like the red clay scene would, and anything with Victor and Kyle Griffin scenes hit or miss for me. But I enjoy the prankster as a villain. He's fun. He's not too silly like some of our later villains. He's a little menacing and mean, which is interesting. And oh my gosh, the scene with Lois at Clark's apartment, great and wonderful. So this episode wouldn't be in like my top tier, but maybe in top 20. And I give it an A-. What about you, Julie?
Awesome. I have always really liked the prankster, this one and the next one as well. Any episode that really showcases Teri's physical comedy, I love. I love the whole scene in her apartment, the whole scene in Clark's apartment, but specifically the one in her apartment where she's just ultra paranoid about everything. I love how she spills the milk, the whole thing. I love that their friendship has developed into that kind of comfort zone for her where she feels she can depend on him a bit. I like where things are progressing. I also really like the villain in this episode. I feel like this is probably the best villain we've had so far for the season, even though I like Lenny Stoke. I think I like the prankster a little more. And for those reasons, I'm going to give this episode an A-.
All right, Derek,
Nice.
What about you?
How about you, Derek?
Revisiting again. This is one I've not watched in some time. I was pleasantly surprised by what I remembered and what I enjoyed about it. I deduct points for not using the true name of the character because I think that's a very 90s thing to just give him a name like Kyle Griffin. And then I also deduct points for not using the Cullum phone for the phone call. You literally just set up that joke and then you didn't pay off on it. I give it an A. I remember liking the next one with them with both. I also give it points because the other episode they bring back Victor too. And a lot of times on those
Yeah.
shows, if they brought back a villain from another season or something, they'd have a different henchman or a different person. So I do like he gets his kind of Lex and Otis. He gets his little buddy. But I remember liking that episode better because of the whole president storyline and the freeze ray and all of that.
Yeah.
And I think I watched it a lot more than this one. But I did enjoy revisiting this one. So thank you all for allowing me to. But I give it an A.
Cool.
Nice.
All right. Well, before we go, Derek, tell our listeners where people can find you on the internet.
Absolutely. If you are listening to fine podcasts like fans of Lois and Clark here, the folks, you can find the House of L wherever you listen. Just search House of L. We're on Apple, Spotify, anything like that. And superhouseofl.com is our website where you can stream from there as well. And we're on social media wherever you do social media at Superhouse of L.
Well, we really appreciate you coming on.
No, thank you. I loved this. I'd love to be here anytime. So I appreciate it.
Yay.
All right. Yay.
Fun.
All right. Thanks to everyone for joining us today. Please be sure you're following us on your favorite podcasting platform. If you're watching the show alongside us, our next episode will be Season 2, Episode 5, Church of Metropolis.
On the next Lois and Clark.
Why hasn't anyone ever gone after these guys?
I'll even give you the name of the person who's going to die. I think you know her. When a criminal mastermind targets Lois.
This is not over.
Clark may be falling into a trap.
That Mason may be an agent of Intergang.
She set it up.
Now.
Once you cross into this, there's no going back.
How far will they go to throw Superman off the trail?
You want to know who the head of Intergang is? It's
Peter Boyle and Bruce White's guest star in all-new Lois and Clark, 2 weeks from tonight here on ABC.
You can find us on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and Facebook as Folks Forever. That's FOLCS FOREVER. Or you can visit our website at folksforeverpod.wixsite.com/podcast. And until next time, maybe it was the pizza.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I loved it.
It's been fun.
Sorry
All right.
it took so long.
No!
Actually, we're running. We went fast, guys. Hey,
yeah, we're under 2 hours, but we still have more to record. So. Hello. I almost called you Lois. Okay, Jen.
Clark also mentions.
Sorry about that snafu earlier, but
all good.
It's just gonna be fun to edit.
Yeah.
It's funny that it went on the prankster one. This is your
I know.
prank, Jen. Here you go.
Yeah.
Pranks afoot.
Put them in order.
Does this come out April 1st? No, we already had April 1st. What day are we on? Oh, shucks.